Hey everybody, welcome to Jacob's Quest, and this weekend, of course, was D23. Star Wars and Marvel put out a whole bunch of trailers, and I'm trying to slowly cover them all. At first, I thought I was going to be able to just put them out slowly over time, but I might end up just putting all of them out pretty much around the same time, so there you go. Now, this one is Tales of the Jedi, which, of course, you know, it was this mysterious project that we saw like a glimpse of the logo of, and then it was passed around for like months, and no one knew what was going on. And now we know it is a series of shorts. I think it's only like 6 episodes. 3 of them are going to be essentially an Ahsoka prequel slash, you know, after Clone Wars. So I guess during the time of the Bad Batch. And then the other half is going to be Count Dooku stuff, which is like, that's particularly interesting to me because, you know, we saw a little bit in Dooku Jedi Lost. Like his background was more explored for like, I think the first time ever, really. So, yeah, Tales of the Jedi. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Everywhere there is life.
Pav T.
But
okay.
You must face death. Honor it. Do not
So
fear
that was
it.
Dooku. There's a little Ahsoka.
Jedi. Ahsoka is Jedi.
Okay, so I guess she could tell that there's force sensitivity there. Okay.
The best way I can
Six
protect
original
you
forms.
is to teach you how to protect yourself.
Master Dooku.
I want to bring peace and order to the galaxy.
Young Qui-Gon.
Master.
I wonder what planet this
It is the only way you will truly have victory.
My Padawan.
Again,
is. So Mace and Dooku. How old is Mace Windu supposed to be?
again.
And then here we have Ahsoka training, which we'll get into that when we go over it.
Dooku, stand down.
Mace and Dooku. That's a fascinating combination.
I'm tired of fighting.
I've been warning them about the coming darkness.
Okay.
Let's hope all
And
that
that looks
training
to be
pays
from the
off.
Ahsoka. Yaddle.
And who might you be?
Tales of the Jedi. Okay. October 26th. Okay, now that is interesting. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and just go back through this. Because there's actually quite a bit we got to talk about. So, who is Pav T? I'm not sure. That kind of sounds like a Jedi name. And I think this footage here is, of course, from Yep, there it is. Padme's funeral. And of course, this is the courtroom of the roof courtroom of the Jedi Temple. There's the great tree where we see young Dooku. It looks like baby Ahsoka made some kind of connection with this tiger here. And I suppose, like, you know, like we know that they have the Jedi, what do they call them? The Seekers, who go out and they look for Force-sensitive children to bring to the temple, and pretty much every planet that's in the Republic kind of agrees to do this. I don't think you have to. Like, I think if the parents really, really wanted to keep their kid, they could. They would just kind of like be, you know, on a, hey, just make sure they don't start using the Force for bad stuff. You know, we're gonna watch them, I guess, you know. What I do like is that the animation, you know, some of the scenes feel like they're very much like it's exactly just Clone Wars, you know, Bad Batch animation style, but some of it also feels like it's been, I don't know, the animation is softer somehow, more round. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking for. But, you know, some of it seems a little different, you know. And I think that's because if you look at Season 7 of Clone Wars and the Bad Batch, you'll notice the animation's, like, smoother than I'm used to seeing in the rest of Clone Wars, you know. So, you know, you can tell a difference. So we have Tera Sinube, which, you know, by the way, Tera Sinube, we know ends up in the Inquisitor Temple, thanks to Obi-Wan, the Obi-Wan show. So, oof. And yeah, so she's training here against these remotes and now training against clone troopers, which is cool because, of course, that is exactly, she's using like the exact moves in the exact scenario that she will eventually be able to escape Order 66 because of. So they're basically saying, like, you know, I did hear some people say, like, well, how is it that Ahsoka was able to escape that situation, but not a single other Jedi Master, well, not a single, you know, there were several, but the majority of Jedi Masters were not able to escape getting shot down. Now, you know, so basically just like, oh, okay, she trained specifically against these clone troopers, so when the situation arrives, she knows how they're gonna use it, you know, how they're gonna take a Jedi down. Alright, we have some planet here where Count Dooku is defending these people against this army, which is interesting. Now it looks like, yeah, okay, so it looks like Dooku's gonna start choking this general guy, and then he pushes Qui-Gon back. So I guess this is where we're gonna start seeing the seeds of Dooku, like, getting a little too dark, you know, where even Qui-Gon's like, hey, you want to chill out, you know? That's going to be a fascinating thing to see. Now, when Mace gets involved, I'm not entirely sure what the age is supposed to be for Mace. Because, you know, I would think that he was younger than Dooku, because Dooku was, you know, he seemed significantly older, but maybe not. You know, I mean, Mace was also a master, and I don't know how long he's been on the council, but it feels like he's been there a while. So maybe he and Count Dooku are actually closer to the same age than I had thought. But yeah, as we can see, she is training for that exact scenario. So they're taking out a bunch of these. It looks like the same guards that we saw earlier. They seem to be wearing the same thing. So this must be part of the same story. I know that the 3 episodes are supposed to be like kind of skipping around in time, as far as like what happens. So here, let's go back. So as we see, Ahsoka is at Padme's funeral. Now where is this? Because that does not look like the Jedi Temple, so I'm not sure where this is, where Ahsoka's going. Okay, and then of course we see Rex. I'm assuming this is another scene from Order 66, maybe, or just after it. Because I mean, they at least edit it to make it look like he's firing at Ahsoka, but maybe not. All right, here we go. Now, here's interesting stuff. So, throughout this trailer, we see that Anakin's hair is shorter. Now, at first, I'm like, oh, okay, so this is not that long after. This is not that long after Attack of the Clones, right? And I think I learned actually rather recently, Clone Wars actually starts like 6 months after Attack of the Clones. So, if Clone Wars starts then, you know, because like you see, Obi-Wan has this haircut, which is interesting because I'm trying to think, like, he did not have that haircut at the beginning of Clone Wars, the TV show, right? So I have to assume this is, but then they met Ahsoka in the movie. They show them meeting Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan definitely doesn't have this haircut. You know what I mean? So like, maybe this scene with Yoda and Obi-Wan looking like this is slightly before the movie, and then he gets a haircut, and then the movie happens. And they're editing these 2 scenes together for the trailer, but that's not actually how the scene's playing out. You know what I mean? That's all. I'm just trying to wrap my head around that, because we know what they look like in the Clone Wars movie when they first meet Ahsoka for the first time ever. So Obi-Wan can't have this haircut. I don't know. I know. It's a haircut, but I'm just trying to think of like timeline wise, because this is his Attack of the Clones look. Clone Wars, the TV show, starts 6 months later. He had, you know, a haircut happened. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, okay, so someone has died here. We see Dooku's there. Everyone appears to be here. You know, obviously we can't see the whole council, but who is it that got taken out here? Is this Yaddle? We're gonna see Yaddle in a moment. Yeah, see, even Mace is here. Yeah, everyone's here for this funeral. Someone got taken out. All right, and then of course we see there's Anakin, and then this Inquisitor here. Now we kind of know what's going on here. Now, I believe this is covering the events of the Ahsoka novel, right? I don't know. It wasn't a full novel. It was like a young adults novel, I guess. But it is this canon book that a lot of people really really love. I've read it pretty recently, like only a couple months ago, I think. And basically, it seems like they're doing the scene where she takes out the Inquisitor and she gets the crystals from his lightsaber and she purifies them, turns them white, and that is why in The Mandalorian she has white lightsabers, and in the Rebels, she has white lightsabers. Now, some people are kind of concerned that like, oh, they're gonna do over the book and they're gonna like change the canon, because they've done it before. There's with season 7 of Clone Wars, the way they captured Darth Maul. It was changed somewhat from the description that they had in the book, And I know whenever canon stuff happens, it gets all weird. And yes, it fair enough, right? Like everything is supposed to be canon. But I think it is more like, stuff that happened in the books did technically happen, but maybe slightly in different ways, And it's all because, the way that you describe something in a book isn't always as cinematic, I guess, or it isn't always as paced as well, or maybe it just wouldn't make as good of an episode of TV as the way they're doing it now. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, the point is, the stuff that you see on screen has always been able to, like, override the stuff that we read, even though it's, like, technically supposed to be canon, Obviously, George Lucas was even more severe with this when he did the prequels, and there was like a lot of legend stuff that had to be worked over, Anyways, so some people are worried about them redoing this moment. Look, I'm not worried about it. If you like the book version more, then you can just say the book is what counts in your head. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, guys. It's okay. Anyways, and now here is where we get something really interesting. So we have Dooku fighting Yaddle, and look, are they about to say, because we do not know, in canon, we do not know what happened to Yaddle. That's the truth. We've seen, I think in Legends, they had some story where Yaddle died defending Anakin, and that's why she was not there in Attack of the Clones. But, be honest, it seems like what they might be doing here, because this, I don't know if, you can't tell if this is like a training session or if this is an actual fight between them, right? If they say that Dooku is actually the one who ended up killing Yaddle and then, I guess, lied to it, because, like, I can only assume this is the funeral that we see everyone at, earlier, right? Because all the Jedi were there, they're looking around this funeral, this person being lowered to the ground, right? I can only assume that is Yaddle. And if they're saying that Dooku killed her, and then he did that like right before he left the Order, maybe that's interesting. Or maybe Yaddle figured something out. Maybe Yaddle figured out like, hey, Dooku's been talking to some Sith people. Like maybe she figured everything out. Wouldn't that be fascinating? If like this entire conspiracy that would not actually end up happening for like another decade, like, was figured out really early on by Yaddle, and that's why she had to be taken out by the Sith, because they're like, oh, she, someone already knows, like years before the Clone Wars even starts, right? Wouldn't that be insane? So I think that's my guess right now. I think that's actually what's going to end up happening. So, yeah, they're redoing the moment from the Ahsoka novel. I am sure there will be some kind of changes, whether they're small changes or like one significant change. And that's just the way canon in lore works. You know what I mean? Like, they had that idea for the Ahsoka novel years ago. And here now, years later, someone's like, okay, but what if we slightly changed it a little bit to this? And now they have a chance to retell that story with slight changes. And you know what I mean? Like I guess for me, lore is an evolving, always changing thing. It's not like these stone tablets that we're carving lore into and be like, no, this is exactly what happened. Because someday someone's going to come up with maybe a more interesting story, and they're going to be like, what if we did this? I think this would be a cooler thing to do. and that's the new lore. You know, like I guess my thing is like people don't like to update the lore in their minds. Like once they read a book, they're like, that is it forever. But that's just not the case. That's never how it's been. If you look back, it's always changed. They're always adding things. Sometimes they're taking away things, you know? Now, obviously, I don't know the context of the Yaddle versus Dooku fight, but I would be so fascinated. And then I think it would, like, suddenly make Yaddle, like, this crazy important character if really early on, before the Clone Wars, before Dooku even left the Order, she had somehow figured a lot of it out. You know, figured out that, like, oh wait, did they just order a clone army from the Kaminoans? You know, are they planning something? Like, what happened here? What happened to Sifo Dyas? Did Dooku take out Sifo Dyas? And if she figured everything out, and then she tried to confront Dooku, and then she was, like, tragically defeated, that would, like, add, like you know, Star Wars, not that they're lacking tragedy, but that would add, like, such a, that's like a Fives from Clone Wars level, like, tragedy, you know, where Fives figured everything out, but then no one believed him, and he got gunned down by his own people. You know, like, God, you know, like that would be such a tragic end for Yaddle, but it would also be like they almost stopped it. The Jedi were almost able to prevent all of this because one of them figured it out. God, that'd be fascinating. Obviously, I'm speculating. I don't know that that's what's happening, but if that fight between Dooku and Yaddle is for real, you know, maybe that's what made Sidious be like, okay, you're officially my Sith apprentice because you took out a Jedi Master, right? Like, that would be like his initiation, right? Oh man, my speculation alone on that is like, I think it's all gonna drop on the same day, so you know, we won't have to wait weeks to find out. But I'm already like, is this gonna be Yaddle's canon disappearance? Because I believe we don't have one for canon. Like in Legends, there was a reason why she wasn't there, but man, fascinating stuff. I love that Yaddle's back, and something really crazy might be happening there. So, all right, let me know what you guys think, and I will react to the next trailer as soon as possible. All right, bye.